All right, welcome in. Hanna Time. Sun rising. West Coast style here in Arizona, though. Got a lot to talk about, a lot of football over the weekend. NFL, college football. Got a little tad of baseball at the end, but wow, we got a lot to talk about. I mean, when we talk about the possibilities, nobody expected a bunch of these teams in the beginning of the season to be where they are in the NFL. We're going to talk about that and more right here on Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna, right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network in 30 seconds. All right, welcome back in. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna here, live Global Sports Studios here, going network-wide and also on a bunch of different social platforms that I'll get to in a second here. But the NFL weekend was fun. It was a blast, and so was the college football watching it. What a great weekend of football with the college bowl games. We just got entertained a lot. If you were just chilling at home and just enjoying a football weekend, you had a really good, entertaining time, and very entertaining too. But gotta have faith. You just got to have faith. I mean, there are reasons why that word is so powerful. Okay. And when it comes to everyday life or just believing and just trusting and having faith, and when it comes to sports, you just got to have faith. Can I hear that beat? Yeah, Mike. But when you look at all the football games that you watched this weekend, so many storylines, like the Buccaneers, the Steelers, right? What happened to the Jets and the Cowboys? Are they really going to take over and beat out the Eagles? It's a possibility because the Eagles are now flipping and trying to figure this out without their quarterback. The Packers, yeah, remember the Packers? How you were laughing at them? The Lions? Yeah, the Lions. Yes. The Rams. What happened to the Super Bowl champs? Super Bowl chumps now. The Giants, again, one of those stories. You got to have faith, right? What happened to Ohio State? Georgia game over the weekend. Semifinals college football. Man, if you're a Georgia fan, man, you got to have faith in that. And we'll talk about that strike of midnight when that kick that failed and the celebration. Man, that was just what a magical moment that was. Michigan, man, they gave their heart and soul, but weren't they? They were supposed to beat TCU. TCU was not supposed to even get to this far. They weren't even ranked. Gotta believe, gotta have faith, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks at the back end of the show. And the surprise team, a lot of people are talking about them. They're starting to jump on this D-backs bandwagon in 2023. Yeah, you got to have faith. You got to have faith. So you can watch it all here right now on Facebook Live or Roku TV, ASAP Sports Network, Twitch, Global Sports Broadcasting Network, on YouTube also with the TV podcast, Instagram, Memento Plus, Viva TV, Tiki TV, Herigo TV, and LinkedIn Live, all coming to you right now on a sunrise Monday morning. Yes, it's just been a long 2 weeks, and we all got to get back to the grind starting right now. But hopefully I can entertain you and ease you into this new year, a new week, a new beginning, which should be every day. It should be every day. Shouldn't wait for New Year's to make those resolutions. You should wake up and just keep improving yourself many, many ways. That's why you got to have faith, folks. You got to have faith. All right. My sponsors scrolling below on the screen. You got them all right there. I got T-shirts for you. Love Always Win T-shirts. Just email me, message me, and we'll hook you up there. Metal One Stable Coin. Dr.REDDY Gastrologist. Yes, the gut doctor. Ready or not, here he comes. And liver specialist, too, Dr.REDDY, Maricopa County wide. Double B Lodge up in Pine Top, Arizona. Also a book, the book, A Peaceful War, about the human computer chip. Everything you're hearing from Elon Musk and everything across the board, it's here, it's happening, and it's moving fast. But check out the book, A Peaceful War, on Amazon. And Geed, conscious active wear balance for your motion centers with high vibration crystals and chakra targeting design. Geed. Look it up. It's on the screen below, folks. Those are my sponsors. I got more coming to you right now. But let's get back into it. Let's start talking NFL right away. The big storylines. I mean, the Buccaneers finding their way to the division title after they've been struggling and returning their players. I mean, there's so many things about the Bucs. I want to talk about the Giants, the Eagles. What is going on there in Philly? Are they just, I mean, can this fall apart just as fast as it was going so well? And, when you talk about the Panthers, Carolina Panthers itself, and their quarterback situation, I want to tap into that a little bit too. The 49ers and Prudy itself, is he really the deal? Or is it Kenny Pickett? Who was the best quarterback coming out of 2023 draft? Was it Pickett? Who's the rookie? What rookie gets the honor, right? That's a good one for you. What quarterback rookie is the best in the NFL this year? All right. Okay, let's roll through. I got a lot to talk about the Cardinals also, and their situation and their game yesterday, and some things that I'm looking forward to in the upcoming season 2024. But let's start off with this right away. Is the NFC overall wild card situation. If the Packers win, they're in. They beat the Lions, it's in. The Packers make the great comeback in the NFC. I warned everybody. I told you there's going to be a wild card that is wild and that potentially can win it all. Now, you can be, how can the Packers win it all? Folks, you got to have faith, man. I mean, it's completely right in front of you. You got to wake up to it. It's happened before. Wild card teams just find their ways. But the Lions themselves, the Lions who took out the Bears, right? They win. Seattle loses. The Lions are in. That's how it's going to work for the Lions. They just got to win and hope for the Seahawks to lose. Now, for Seattle, they got to beat the Rams, which Rams are just what Ram team's showing up, and the Packers. The Packers have to lose. So there's some scenarios there. But wow, when you think about the Packers run, they're hot, like 6 in a row. They were 3-6, was it, or something like that, in scrambling, and nobody believed in them. And people laughing at Aaron Rodgers, that it's all about Aaron. Aaron sucked. I saw Packer fans. I saw Packer fans and heard Packer fans just ripping on Aaron Rodgers. Folks, did we learn last year about veteran quarterbacks? Did we learn about veteran quarterbacks throughout our lifetime watching them? Yeah, they're slowing down in certain areas, but they know how to manage a game. They know where to put the ball. They know game situations. They just don't lose that. Physically, those things do break down. But if you watch Aaron Rodgers, he was not breaking down. It just seemed like mechanically, offensively, the system or players, new bodies, new faces, nothing. It just wasn't clicking. But it took a full football season to get it right. The second half of a year. And that's what happens a lot in the NFL. The Packers are a great example of it. But it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. Now, what are you going to say about Aaron Rodgers? I want to hear you. I really want to hear you right now. Those who just ripped on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. He's smirking in the camera right now in that press conference, right? You can see it now. When we witnessed Aaron over his career, he is the coolest, baddest quarterback, folks. You got Tom Brady, but man, when you watch Aaron Rodgers in a live football, you got to go to a game, right? And I've witnessed this a few times. Just focus your eyes on Aaron Rodgers. He just commands the whole freaking field. He knows. He's the offensive coordinator out there. And he knows what needs to get done. And it was frustrating. And it was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of timing. Players got to grow up. Could they grow up? Could they emerge? Is Aaron just going to say, I don't want to do this anymore? Now does Aaron say, man, I can come back and, hey, we got something here in Green Bay. I want to finish this. I can do what Tom's doing. I mean, it's amazing. Now they got the control in their hands, the Green Bay Packers. They got everything. And you all was stomping on them, right? You're having your cheese and everything else on this team. Wow. Now, how do you feel? And if they even lose to the Lions, for something like that could happen, it's the NFL. You cannot take away what they just did. They're playing playoff football every game. They're winning. They know what they're up against. Awesome stuff. And Aaron Rodgers, keep smirking, man, because I know what you're thinking too. You want, you got vengeance. You got I mean, you know it. You get that belt going, baby. You got it. Aaron Rodgers, man, still love you. You know, you could be arrogant as an athlete, but man, you cannot deny a guy's success and leadership on the field, Aaron Rodgers. But what a great run so far for the Packers itself. And now, when you think about runs, you thought about the Eagles, right? Remember the Eagles? They were just undefeated. They were just rocking and rolling with Jalen Hurts, and then Hurts gets hurt. And we thought, all right, the Eagles, they got a lot of talent. They got a great D. They got this. They're going to be breaking some records here as a team. They have some great potent receivers, great offensive line. Like, you got all these little things. But then when Jalen Hurts got taken out, he's hurt, man. And can he make it back? They need him because they've lost a couple in a row. They're struggling. They're not the same team, just like that. This is what MVPs are, most valuable. And he is so, but quarterbacks are that most valuable player. Every one of your quarterbacks is the most valuable player because you can't win without a quarterback in the NFL. And no matter how much talent you have and how much you can stay involved one game at a time without your star quarterback, this time of the year, December, January football now. This is January football. You got past it all. Now it's about the new season. Can you get there? Can you finish? Can you win in the new season? And the Eagles, when they get Jalen back, playoffs, or maybe next week if he's ready to go, because they're desperate. And the reason why is Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are this like psychotic, chaotic team. They can blow you out. Everybody's on their bandwagon, and then they lose the next week. Or they struggle, right? Or they barely sneak out a win against a team that they should have blown out. Like, who are these Cowboys? But they're still there, and they're still winning. They're still winning. And the one thing Dallas does not want to do is go to Philadelphia and play in cold weather in Philly or go to the East Coast. Cowboys, historically, have not done well traveling to cold weather climate teams. Cowboys need home field advantage, and they're on the Eagles breathing down their neck. Their feathers are flying off right now because the Cowboys are coming. This is the scenario for the Cowboys right here. This is their checklist, the Dallas Cowboys checklist for the NFC East championship title on the line now. Next, it goes down to the 1 week. You thought this was over about a month ago. Well, they won yesterday. Okay, they had to. They won, right? But they had to have the Eagles lose. And they got that done. Now they got to beat Washington. That's not going to be easy. But Washington's got problems next week with their quarterback. They're out. They're out of the playoffs. Now they can be the spoiler. Now let's see who's quarterbacking them. And then you got to have the Eagles, I should say, lose to the Giants. So the Eagles still have to lose. No matter what happens, Eagles have to lose, and the Cowboys have to win. That's all it comes down to. The Giants are in the playoffs. They took care of business yesterday. Who and what are they playing for next week? Do they rest their players? Do they rest their quarterback, who has just been amazing, Daniel Jones? So nobody's talking about DJ. Saquon Barkley. Could you rest his body, get him fresh for that one big wild card game? The Eagles may get a break. The Giants may just pull back the reins. Now, the Giants, on the other hand, may say, hey, we win this game. We win this game. We take out the Eagles, a team that we have had a hard time beating, and put them in a wild card spot. And maybe you got a shot. Open that door a little bit. Possibility there too. So many things that you don't know who's sitting, what players are sitting, who's going to get rest. Now, the magical part about the final week of the NFL is There are so many different possibilities of home field advantage. Let me get this off the screen, folks. There's so many different possibilities of what teams can do and get it, home field advantage, and like the AFC and the NFC. The Giants may be one of those teams that may not have to play their players. They may just say, we're just going to do what's right. Get our guys healthy and ready. We got a great shot here. We're not going to be the lower seed, or are we, if we lose in the wild card situation? We're going to be right there in the middle. You win as the best wild card team, maybe you get a home field in the NFC Championship game. Those things have happened before. Okay? All right. Speaking of a team that, again, you got to have faith. You got to have faith, okay, are the Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, folks. Again, you ripped on Tom Brady. You destroyed everything about him. Said it was old. Hey, the guys have dealt with a lot of off-field problems. This is Tom Brady here. He's dealt with a lot. The Buccaneers have been an injured football team, folks. There's so many injuries in Tampa Bay that people just didn't understand or see or watch about, talk about, because you weren't focusing on it. The national media barely talked about it. But like a lot of teams, those injuries decimate you in many ways. Somehow they hung around. Somehow they were able to. Right now, the Buccaneers are still figuring themselves out, but they're on the incline. I mean, they're going up, like the Packers. They're going up. You can see it. It's not like a machine. But man, if they can get there, they got one more week of football to put it together, right? They don't have to worry about the record. Another team that can rest Tom Brady, rest some players, and get ready for the wild card weekend. One of those teams are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when you get your injured star players, or a lot of players, that your depth chart gets fatter and helps you. And Tom Brady is now clicking better than ever. Do you realize the kind of game he had yesterday, folks? At his age, it wasn't just a flash moment. Tom Brady has been having a great season, yards-wise, completion-wise. Just has been just like what was going on in Green Bay. A lot of missing parts, just system. It was just a struggle. But something has flipped. And the one thing is, they got players back. They're getting synchronized. They have momentum. They are one of the best teams in the fourth quarter, folks. Tom Brady has got that fourth quarter. He's owning it. He is owning it. You watched the last 2 weeks. They were down by 10 a week ago. They were down to the Cardinals. They were down, 14 points? Was it yesterday? And here comes the fourth quarter. Tom was on, though. He was flinging it. Don't count out the Bucs, okay? Do you really want to face Tom Brady in the fourth quarter with a game on the line? You don't. Aaron Rodgers, you don't. But these are two quarterbacks that everybody was just stomping on and just calling, get it over. You're done. You're done. They have not been done. Tom Brady is not done. If he wants to play next year, he probably can still play at a high level. But I will tell you this. Do not want to play the Buccaneers in the first round, folks. Whoever gets that, you just got to hope that you get the Bucs from the first 9 games of the year, or the first 10 games of the year, or whatever it is. But you don't want the Bucs of December, right? You don't want the Bucs of this January. You don't, because that's a totally different team. Tom Brady itself. All right, let's keep on moving along here. You got the Giants yesterday. What a beautiful win, a convincing win, beating the Colts. Yes, Colts are just a mess. A team that a lot of people had winning a lot this year, and things can fall apart just as fast as things can get going. But you got to feel great about Daboll, the head coach, who was just emotional, smart, just put the Giants back on the map. First time in 2016. The celebration in New York area was just fabulous to watch. But you got to think about the Giants too. Again, you got to have faith. And this NFL football season is a great indicator about the next years of NFL football, that things are all possible. Do never give up. Never give up. If you understand what that means, right? Great. If you don't, there's a lot of things around you. Don't ever give up. And if it doesn't happen, just understand that you gave it your best and just keep going. Do not tank. Keep fighting. Things can happen. The Giants got off to a great start, but a year ago, they were not in the playoffs. People laughing at the Giants. Daniel Jones didn't even get the contract. He's playing on his last year as a quarterback. He's banking on himself, and the Giants are going, let's see what happens. But the Giants, with a great record, nobody expected them to win 10 games. Nobody expected them to be in the playoffs. But that's the NFL. And you got to have faith. Even going into next year, if you're one of these teams like the New York Giants, if you're like the Giants this year, you got to understand that you can flip the switch in 1 year, but definitely by 2 years. If you don't, then you got to have something's got to change. It's the helter-skelter of NFL, folks. Only certain teams can just massage this thing out and keep it going. Only a few teams can do that. Okay. And, when you're talking about the former Super Bowl champs, because they can hold the title until we are crowning another one. They are the Rams. The 11 losses are the most by a reigning Super Bowl champ. It's the worst season for any Super Bowl champ following their championship. It's the worst. The LA Rams. And good riddance, right? They did everything they could. They got to 2 Super Bowls. They won 1, right? Last year. Wasn't pretty. It wasn't even a pretty run. It was a very ugly run. But they got there. They won it. But where are the Rams going? Okay. A lot of people had the Rams going back. A lot of people had the Rams winning their division. And everybody else, what? No, you got to have faith. Got to have faith, right? And speaking of the Rams itself, I saw this on the internet, and I'm not quite sure how you feel about this one. The Rams are hanging 2 banners in the stadium. The Rams, but not the St. Louis Rams, and not the LA Rams. Like, what Ram team owns one or both? Right? Do the LA Rams own both Super Bowl titles from 99 and 2021? Because one was done in St. Louis. One was done in St. Louis. So the question is, do the Rams organization claim their Super Bowl titles? Because when you're hanging it up in LA, in the stadium, your stadium, you're hanging up a banner that it was from St. Louis. It's kind of weird. But at the same time, as a Rams organization, cities can change. They have. The Rams have, the Rams were Cleveland Rams. Remember this, folks. They were called the Cleveland Rams before they moved to LA. Okay. Then it was St. Louis. And then it was back to LA. You can hang it, but it's when I look at that, all I see is St. Louis. I don't see LA. And but the Rams got their title, and they got a lot of work to be done. There's so many things that, who knows what the Rams are going to look like next year too? Who knows? All right, so next year, we're going to keep it in the NFC West. Cardinals, there's Bruce Arians, the last really great coach the Cardinals had, offensively. But I'm not going to rip on Cliff Kingsbury yet. They got a lot of nice things to do there. But this guy here, Sean Payton, was also part of the mix itself for the Arizona Cardinals that people are talking about. And what will it take for Sean Payton to do, right? What will it take? Sean Payton said this yesterday on a live broadcast on Fox. He predicted that the Cardinals would lose by 10 points to the Falcons yesterday. He was convinced. I watched that. I don't know if you caught that. He was convinced. He said the Falcons will win by 10. Does this guy sound like he has a lot of faith in the Cardinals next year? Does this guy see things that he's not impressed with the Cardinals this year? What is he thinking in that moment? For all you wishing that he comes to Arizona. Sean Payton won 1 Super Bowl with Drew Brees. Sean Payton track record is a good one. But, at the same time, you're glorifying this guy as if he's the savior. And he's not. He's not. But can he flip an organization around? We don't know. He had 1 shot with the Saints, and it went very well with a nice quarterback, a really good quarterback, right? And he was able to ride that out. We don't know about these great coaches until they have different teams or different quarterbacks in different times of their career that are not with, say, Drew Brees. You're seeing that a lot. Like Tom Brady's gone in New England, still hanging around, and Belichick's still figuring it out. They got a shot in New England to go to the playoffs. Can Sean Payton do that? I mean, are you convinced that he's the guy? Now, speaking of the Cardinals, I do gotta give this out to the local Cardinal fan base here. Some of the things I'm just gonna read this to you because I have I just wrote some things down. Okay, all right. So offensively, I saw a lot of nice things yesterday. I saw a lot of nice things. I saw a fight in the Cardinals. I saw a lot of good offensive flow. I mean, the numbers weren't great numbers, but there were some effective plays. So there were some nice plays. The quarterback, Blau, 4th quarterback in the Cardinals this season. Not a good thing to hear, but it was. But he was okay. He made some really good throws. I like the spin on his ball. I think he's got a live arm. I love his quarterback awareness in the pocket. Okay, this is a guy that hasn't played a whole lot of football in the NFL. Seemed very comfortable back there. You can tell he was trying to win a job, trying to, the audition for next year somewhere else, maybe for the Cardinals as a backup, maybe somewhere else. If somebody's looking for another quarterback next year to get on their roster, Blau may have just got some attention from yesterday. His numbers weren't fantastic. Cardinals were limited, right? Offensively. But, when you go through Kyler, McSorley, and McCoy, Blau, he did impress me, folks. He did impress me. Let me go through this for you, okay? They were in, let's say, 5 possessions of scoring, right? They scored 5 times, the Cardinals. They had a lot of field goals. One of them was a missed field goal. So there was actually 6 times they attempted to score, right? They 5 out of 6, right? Not bad. They got to make touchdowns. They got to score touchdowns. They got to put the ball in the end zone. But, when you're talking about Blau and you're talking about on the road, East Coast, a season that's dead, who wants to play football? And you had a lot of young players, like a quarterback like Blau, with minimal experience. You had some young receivers out there. You had offensive linemen that look, and you had one leader on offense, and that was James Conner, right? And you still made plays yesterday, Cardinals. You still had a great chance to win. You were about to win that game, and I was thinking, don't win. You can go up in the draft pick. Like, go all. You have it. Don't blow this one. You're going to regret that the fact that you won this game, and you could have had that guy at that spot, in the NFL draft. Like, that's how it works. And I know you want to win and everything else, but man, to me, it was a perfect storm of, you lost, but to me, that's not a bad thing this time of the year. But you saw a lot of effort, the Cardinals. You saw a lot of players putting it out there on the line, looking for a job or trying to, next year. You saw a head coach giving 1,000%, right? You got to be impressed with Cliff Kingsbury, folks. I know you don't like a lot of things, but at the same time, who is Cliff Kingsbury? What is going on here? Think about this right now about Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals. He had 4 different quarterbacks. Kyler Murray was the guy. Would have won more games if Kyler was right. If he wasn't injured, I don't know if they even make the playoffs. But Kyler was his guy. But it didn't go well. Kyler had a bad year. Everything was just a downer. Then he had to go to his backup, McCoy. Nice backup. squeezed out a win there, was competitive some games, right? Like, it was fun to watch McCoy run an offense a little different than Kyler Murray. But they didn't win. Still struggling. Then he gets another quarterback, McSorley. Man, almost pulled up that upset against the Buccaneers, right? Made a couple of big plays. The point is, even yesterday with Blau, Cliff Kingsbury had 4 different quarterbacks. They still lost. They lost with Kyler Murray. They lost with all the other backups. Is the problem in Arizona quarterback, not coach? Think about this. Because the way the Cardinals played, the way Kyler Murray, if Kyler Murray can play at a higher level, and there is that possibility or that wishful thinking that we can see that again from Kyler Murray, it's the quarterback. Quarterback play. Now I'm scratching my head. I'm watching Blau, who was put in great positions. It was great play calling. Blau made some plays, and I'm thinking to myself, Cliff Kingsbury is managing and calling a great game here. Now, nobody wants to talk about that. And I've just been hard on Cliff as much as everybody else. But I've been taking some steps back. And this is why I don't believe Cliff will be gone. And if he's gone, it's got to be something astronomical. But the Cardinals will take a hit on it. He's got a new contract. There's a lot of money there. I would wait it out, folks. I know this is painful to hear, but I would wait it out. Cardinals are not going to win next year unless some magical revamp of an offense, some new leadership at the front office, right? Maybe. Because we've seen this happen, but maybe. But Cliff, I mean, if you watched yesterday's game against Atlanta itself, folks, you had to see that this guy can still manage a game. He has a game plan. The Cardinals played well in many plays, many areas. But offensively, they were on the move a lot. You had to have been impressed with that. But why are you looking at one way but not the other way? Cliff Kingsbury, folks, telling you right now, tap the brakes. Because when you have 4 quarterbacks and they still lost, but he still was competitive, right? He was competitive yesterday, almost won. He was competitive last week, Cliff Kingsbury, with his managing and coaching the game and having backup quarterbacks, and they nearly beat the Buccaneers, right? You saw what happened with Colt McCoy. They were battling. They were in these games. They just couldn't win. Quarterback couldn't make the extra play. The defense just seemed to get tired at the end of the game. Right? The players are playing for him. They are still playing. There is a connection going on there, folks. It's not as bad as you think. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, folks, I'll tell you now, it's pretty much a done deal. I'll be surprised that he's back in a Cardinal uniform next year. DeAndre Hopkins. I'll be surprised. Because of where are the Cardinals going next year? Does he want to stick around for a couple more years? He's getting older, right? The Cardinal run was nice, and he wants out. It's frustrating. He's a high-level player. But, folks, when DeAndre Hopkins got back, the Cardinals still lost. It wasn't the bump they were looking for. They never got the bump with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, the quarterback play has a lot to do with it. It has nothing to do with Cliff Kingsbury, folks, I'm telling you. Because if you're watching the backups throw the ball, it's just that these backup quarterbacks have other visions, other ideas, and they're just not, the game's not slow enough for them. It's going too fast. And getting the ball to D-Hop. And a lot of teams are, they're double teaming D-Hop. They're not worried about everybody else. So it's frustrating across the board. But DeAndre Hopkins, trade him. Go get some value picks for him. Rebuild, restock. You got a 2-year window of the NFL draft, and you can load up on some draft picks this year and for next year by trading this guy. And it makes sense because you can still find great receivers. Cardinals have failed in the draft for that. They have failed. There's no doubt. But if you can rebuild and restock real quick, you trade away some of your assets, your commodity, and trade it. DeAndre Hopkins. It's okay, folks. It's really okay. I know you had some great moments with him and great memories to watch this guy in a Cardinal uniform. So the people and players that you're talking about that are going to leave and move on or get fired for the Cardinals, Steve Keim should not come back. Done. The GM-wise, he's failed. He's failed. Okay? He drafted Kyler Murray, and at this point, it's failed. Right? It's failed. Number 1 pick overall in the NFL draft. At this point, right now, it's failed. Where it should be the opposite. So where your quarterback should be at the highest level, and it didn't work. It didn't go well. You had moments. You were in the playoff once. Meanwhile, the other teams with other quarterbacks are, the Justin Herbert playoff, right? Mahomes, Burrow, right? Keep on going down the line with these quarterbacks, folks. It's failed. And this is Steve Keim's. It's on him. Right? Bidwell made the decision to keep all these guys around. Kyler Murray, not going anywhere, a 2-year window. And I would say by his second year from today, 2 years from now, if Kyler Murray is not clicking and not working, it's done in Arizona. There's really just 2 years left in Arizona for this whole thing. And Cliff Kingsbury is the same way. But I don't think Cliff is a problem, folks. I think he's actually gotten better. I think he has utilized everything that possible, creative-wise, anything possible, he has tried. But if you can't give him an offensive line to run the ball and to protect his quarterback, Kingsbury's system is not working. It's not going to go well, like anybody, anywhere. If you can't do anything up front, how is anything going to go well? So I'm going to hold on to Cliff. I want to see something next year, and I want to see something in year 2. And I know it's like, oh, we're going to do this again. Your quarterback play has to be at a high level, folks. And when it was at a high level, Kingsbury won. He was winning games. But Kingsbury has proven to me with backup quarterbacks, he was able to be competitive, put the ball in the end zone, get the ball in red zones, get it across midfield. He was always in striking distance with his offense with backup quarterbacks. With Kyler Murray, it was a different game. So I'm seeing it artistically, yes, but also I'm thinking about it critically. And you're like, no, Hanna, no way. Yeah, tap the brakes. Got to see it. I think this guy is not far off, right? And everything that Kingsbury has been through, I mean, it's been a roller coaster. That has made him a better coach. And taking a step back, right? Separating himself. Maybe Steve Keim had too much control, too much something. There were there's a lot of things behind the scenes. But I can see a guy that is a fighter his players do like him. His players like him. Tap the brakes on Kingsbury, folks. I got more Cardinal stuff, and then we're going to get back into the NFL. I got to talk about the AFC. We went through the NFC run, and then I want to talk a little about some baseball, about the Arizona Diamondbacks being the one of the favorites, or one of the to make the playoffs next year. And I'll talk about that also. All right, so James Conner got hurt yesterday, and one of the things that we always see, but man, he played great. Connors is a leader. Does he want to stick around next year for the Cardinals? Don't know. Don't know if the Cardinals want to. Contract money, but the Cardinals, I think for Connor himself, you'd like to see him win somewhere else, but if he wants to stick it out, folks. I would say this. The young wide receivers, the offensive line, all performed along with James Conner yesterday, along with Blau, the quarterback. You got to be impressed with that. That felt good. That feels good when you're watching a team play and giving their everything. Guys fighting for jobs. That's good chemistry. Get rid of the cancers. Get rid of the negatives. Get rid of anything in that locker room, and let's get to a whole place, a very chemistry in a locker room for 2 weeks, and clear out some noise. J.J. Watt has been fantastic for them. Last game to go for this guy next week, but he is also part of this team bridging itself into the next season, into the year or 2 years from now. He's leaving behind not only his status, but also his knowledge, his experience embedded in a lot of these players, not just on the field, but off the field. Everything about it goes a long way. And I want to talk about what he's done. Okay, when you talk about young players on defense, the Cardinals may have an ingredient, a building, something building here. And a new general manager or president or somebody coming in here who can find more talent to build around a nucleus of a defense that is showing promise of a youth movement. And they got to find more of, defensive line help. They got to find a middle linebacker, somebody in the middle, because there is some talent on the outskirts. There are talents around that bubble of that defense in that box. Okay? Sanders for the Cardinals. Isn't this guy playing at a good level? Growing into his own? Watching him yesterday again, and just like you keep hearing his name, something to build on, something to look forward to. Young, good. He's around the ball. Thomas, the rookie. Is this guy playing ball too? Is J.J. Watt having an effect on these young players? Yes, I'm sure he is. But you got to give some credit to the defensive coordinator, Joseph. Zach Allen having his best year. He got dinged up. Zach gets hurt. Got hurt again. But, man, he's playing at a high level. Got another young player to build around. I just named you 3 players in Arizona, Cardinal fans, that you should be excited about. You got Marco Wilson, the undersized cornerback that plays like he's 6'5", always around the ball, gets challenged, takes on the biggest and the baddest receivers. Having a good year, something to build on. You got Murphy there, he's a good cornerback. He was getting better. Another young player. Are these guys going to be shut down cornerbacks? No, but they're young. They're competitive. They do their job. They do a decent job or a great job. They make plays. They have made plays on the ball often in their young careers. Murphy and Marco Wilson. See how this is building up? Now you have Zaven Collins, who's starting to show some nice stars, some shining on him, right? Something's shining on this guy a little bit. He's being used a little bit more differently. He is not your middle linebacker. That is done. There's got to be a better place to put him. But you can see that this guy is starting to figure it out. And I'd love to see what he does next year. Isaiah Simmons, again, one of those talents that may not be placed in a position to win his battles, being utilized for his talent to cover and compensate for some other issues they have on defense. But you get them locked in like Zaven, get them locked in on their mission, on their one-on-one battles, on their target. And they can just ball out that way, and not having to spread them out because of their great athletic ability and trying to compensate other weaknesses. They're not in their game. And I like to see somebody come in. Now, Kingsbury is not a defensive guy. And I don't know if Joseph is able to understand how to place these guys in better positions to win their battles. He may be on the way out. Maybe even taking a head coaching job. But there are young talent in the last few years that you're seeing some nice things. Can somebody put that defense together? And it won't work unless you have a defensive tackle and a middle linebacker in Arizona, because there are some talented guys and young that are starting to show, hey, they belong. They're figuring it out. And now they're starting to get into their natural instinctive football play, right? They're starting to attack. They're starting to react in their instincts on the field and not thinking too much. And you're seeing this beautiful thing happen in front of you, folks. I'm going to remind you again, Sanders, Allen, Thomas, Marco Wilson. We saw Murphy having a great year at the other cornerback. You know what Buddha does, right? We know what a lot of these guys do in the secondary. But Zaven and Isaiah Simmons have a lot of talent. They make plays, but they're not in the right positions. And they're I got to see them in their natural, gifted positions, not something that they're being stretched out and some hybrids, like hybrid stuff. Let's lock in on these guys. Get somebody in here that can really utilize and put these guys in a place to battle on defense, and get some draft picks, some free agent guys coming in here who can play nose tackle and a middle linebacker, and watch how this defense will shut you down next year. Cardinals' strength next year could be very well their defense if they can find those two components, a defensive tackle and a middle linebacker. Easy to say, but man, it's just two. And I truly believe they can actually spread the wealth of success, and these guys are going to take off. These young guys, they may have something going here in Arizona. I believe, I see it. I see the light. I have the faith in that defense. Offensively, got a lot of things to work on, but it starts with the offensive line. More news on the Cardinals, too, is, besides all their offensive woes, looking at some of my notes yesterday, when I watched Atlanta's quarterback, young rookie quarterback in Ridder, and, it reminded me of Kyler Murray. It reminded me of McSorley. It reminded me of Prudy of the 49ers. It reminded me of a young quarterback, small in size, and there's a lot of them coming out of the NFL draft that are gifted throwing quarterbacks and succeeding, but they're small, and the bodies can take the hits over time, right? But I'm watching Ridder, and I'm going, I don't want to. Do I have to go back 4 years ago when they drafted Kyler Murray? Do I have to? I do, because to this day I still say they should have drafted Bosa. And you guys know me from a few years ago. That was the wrong pick. And that was the right pick at the right time. It wasn't the best guy on the board. It was not the best guy on the board. It was Bosa. And Bosa can still he's changing games on defense. He's that would have been the right pick. And you could still find another quarterback to do the same things. Well, you're seeing it in hindsight. No, I'm not. That's why Steve Keim must go, must not come back. Okay? Must not come back. This is his ruining. He ruined this. He had him believing in one way and building something, but he destroyed it in another way. You can't win if you can't build through the draft, and you got to hit early. The next team I'm going to talk about is the prototype. How to never fail and keep winning and keep succeeding. Okay? But for the Cardinals, getting Keim out of there, getting a new vision and understanding it more about what they have in front of them, and you got 2 years. I like that a lot. Anything else? The Cards lost a lot of close games this year, folks. Cardinals lost a lot of close games this year. Can they flip the switch? Can they flip those losses into wins? This is the NFL. The teams, you can look on a lot of games this year and go, man, what if we won that game? Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs because everything is close. Every NFL game is close. The margin of victory, the difference of winning and losing is less than 6 points, 6 or less. It doesn't matter how great of a team that you are talking about. It's still coming down to the wire. It finds its way. It's a system. It's like it's calculated. So can you flip those losses in a disastrous season, but you battled in a lot of them, like a lot of teams around the NFL, even teams that are battling right now to make the playoffs can go, man, we could have just flipped some of those games. That's the frustration. That's how you can separate yourself. And the good teams don't lose those games, right? Or the teams that are making the playoffs are ones that are just overcoming and winning those close games. Cardinals are looking at next year going, how do we flip some of those close games that we lost battles? We lost our battle, like yesterday's game, like the Buccaneer game. Okay. So a few of those games this year. that the Cardinals were there battling. What does it take to overcome that? There were a lot of growing spurts on this young team. There's a lot of young talent on this team. A lot of growth spurts, a lot of growth and development. And in a season that was looking for a playoff division, I mean, I had the Cardinals winning at least, the most, 7 games. 7 games. I had them at 7. And they fell short well below that. And I only gave them 7 wins because of last season and the potential. But when it started playing out, I was like, this is not going to go 7. It's not going 7. And it happened, right? And we all saw that happening. You hoped for the best. You really did. But Cliff Kingsbury, folks, I don't think he's going to go anywhere, folks. I don't think he I think what we've been watching is a guy that is still finding a way to get his offense in position to score. Remember, they scored 5 times yesterday. 5 times. Unfortunately, it wasn't touchdowns, but the talent level is minimal. They don't, their offensive line, the red zones have been horrible, right? They have James Conner in the red zone. That's the only good thing they get, but they can't put the ball in the end zone all season long, and it's been killing them. They can get down the field. They can move. Cliff can get you down in position. It's the next level, and that becomes either it's Cliff's problem, but also, where's your offensive line? It's been weak. It hasn't been good. They haven't been able to run the ball and get the ball in the end zone that way, or other issues. But they're that close, and which tells me Cliff can get you down the field. And if his quarterbacks can't finish, and they don't have quarterbacks in Arizona right now, and they got this problem next year going into the first few months of the season, maybe more, without Kyler. And we don't even know if Kyler, what is Kyler going to look like? If you're the Arizona Cardinals, do you pick a quarterback this year, or do you wait next year just in case? Just in case. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Protection, insurance, because of Kyler's health, and is he the same quarterback? And 2, put a little pressure on Kyler Murray. You know, he's been humbled all year long, and I hope the offseason really he can digest what the heck happened to him. He's got to be a different player, a different leader, a different everything. And his talent is there. Not the highest level, but it's there. Kyler Murray needs to reevaluate and see where this takes off. But go get another quarterback within the next 2 years. Protect yourself. 2 reasons for that. You're going to push Kyler Murray when he comes back because he knows they got a young, talented quarterback behind him. If Kyler gets hurt, the young guy comes in and maybe something magical happens. And whoa, we got a problem in this controversy in Arizona, right? But in year 2 from now, after the 2024 season's over, the Cardinals didn't have a good year. Kyler wasn't anything other than just what you've been watching, and maybe they win 9 games and they make a wild card or not, and it's just, who are we? Or maybe the Cardinals are just going to just win 6 games still, 7 games, and they just can't just get out of their own way. There's this young quarterback that you got, and you've been grooming, and Cliff Kingsbury has been grooming, and you know what? It's time for a quarterback change. Time to cut, trade, whatever you got to do with Kyler Murray. 2 years from now. Protect yourself. You got a high draft pick coming in Arizona. A very high draft pick this year. Don't win next week. Do not win. Cliff, I know Cliff wants to win because it's hard. I mean, the guy is a battler. I feel for him, man. I really do. But for next season, getting a higher pick, man, that can be a lot. If there's a stud quarterback there, do you take it? After what you witnessed this season, do you take that quarterback? Is it the right quarterback, right? Think about that one too. Will it be the right quarterback? Because Kyler Murray, they said, was the right quarterback at the right position because of the right coach and all this other stuff. It didn't go well. Not going well. The one thing about the NFL draft, and the Cardinals completely were missing on it, okay, is the guaranteed guy. And people say, well, that's hard as a fifth. No, there are literally guaranteed guys in the NFL, and you got to identify that. And some of them are overhyped, and you feed into the overhyped guaranteed stuff. No. There are just, you can just, there's guys in college football right now, I'm going, woo. Like he's ready for the NFL. There's a lot of offensive linemen like that. The Cardinals missed on that one. There's some guaranteed offensive linemen they could have just jumped on. Guaranteed. Last year, too. Guaranteed. Just put him in now as a rookie, and this guy's going to be there for 10 years. Didn't do it. The Kyler Murray thing wasn't guaranteed. What guaranteed you other than you got a high-profile Heisman guy with 1 year of college really experience? He was short, handicapped, all the above, but he fits the Kingsbury system that you believe that was going to be this magical thing. We are the new. No. That's all it was. Didn't happen. Okay? But I'm not going to contradict myself about Kingsbury. I believe it's the quarterback play that is taking down and is hurting Cliff Kingsbury. You give Cliff the right quarterback, watch it take off, folks. That's what I'm feeling now. I'm seeing it after everything I'm seeing this year with backups. He needs his quarterback like any coach does. But I believe what he's been doing and everything he likes to call, his play calling, everything else, there'll be more to it. There'll be more advantages for him, opportunities as a coach to call plays in certain situations. Do not blow this guy out of town yet, folks. Just hold on. Tap the brakes. Now, I got to keep moving along, folks. But the Cardinals, we'll see you in next season, NFL draft. We got plenty to talk about that. All right. There is a team I want to talk about that the Cardinals. I'm telling you, folks, if you watched that game last night, if you watched what you want I'm like, man, if you cannot enjoy watching the Pittsburgh Steelers, folks, you want them out. People wanted them out. People laughed. They thought they were done. They were dead, just like the Packers, right? They had no Ben. They had a rookie quarterback. They had Trubisky that just continued what he did everywhere else he went. And the Steelers were 2-6. 2-6. And when it comes to playoff football time, December football, they are playing once again for a playoff spot. They are there. And if you watched that game last night, they are set for the future. How can the Pittsburgh Steelers figure this out? So you know why? They understand scouting better. They understand how to draft better. And they just know talent. There's no-brainers out there. And they just go get the no-brainer guy. It's not all about this guy. We need a defensive tackle. And he's the best on the board. And what rates him as the best on the board? This is what kills me with the Cardinals. They just what is their, it's embarrassing. And a lot of teams go through this. Not just the Cardinals, but the Steelers, folks. The Super Steelers are there again. They're not going away, folks. For all the haters on the Steelers, they're back. If they don't make the playoffs next week and they don't get that magical win and all that other stuff has to happen, they have proven again they're back. Their quarterback, Kenny Pickett, if you haven't watched the last few games, and if you haven't watched since he started, he just keeps going like this. And the last two games, fourth quarter, game on the line, behind, they're down. There's 2 minutes to go in the game, and you know everything's on. Your season's on the line. A rookie quarterback says, let's go. Let's do this. Cool as ever. He's got a little Drew Brees in him, Kenny Pickett. Right? He does. He's got a little Mahomes in him. And there was a comment last night made by I think it was Collinsworth on the NBC broadcast. And he nailed it. Kenny Pickett was amazing last night. Doesn't have big numbers, but he makes the plays, and he makes them in crucial moments. And he knows he's got tremendous pocket awareness. We heard so much about small hands. It don't matter, folks. It doesn't matter. Plus, he wears gloves, which makes you have a better grip. So just shut up with that. But Kenny Pickett, folks, I'm going to give you the comment here because there was the touchdown pass that he threw to win the game. The winning touchdown pass where he was about to get sacked and scrambles out and twirls out of the way, and he's on the run and feeling pressure, and he makes like this finesse but dart-like throw on the run to Najee Harris with a defender. We're talking window like this. The window is this small. This is why NFL quarterbacks will stay in the NFL and be great. They can make completions with windows like this. And last night, Kenny Pickett for the Pittsburgh Steelers made a bunch of those passes. He made a bunch of those passes. And folks, if this guy, do you remember he was the only quarterback in the first round drafted last year? And the next time a quarterback was drafted was Malik in Tennessee, which was like, what, round 5 or 6 or something like that? There was no quarterbacks going. But there was Ritter on the field against the Cardinals yesterday with Atlanta. There was Prudy out there for San Francisco, right? Kind of weird on the back end, some of these guys are showing up. But Kenny Pickett, folks, here's the comment from Cliff Collinsworth. I'm going to put it on the screen for you because he was magical. He was fun to watch. Collinsworth, talking about some of the favorite things that he saw last night. But when he said this about Pickett was right. If Mahomes makes that throw, this is what he said. If Mahomes makes that throw, he's getting gushed over for weeks. This is that throw, the game-winning pass. Kenny made that throw and deserves that recognition. When you're hearing that from, Hall of Famers, legends, great players from the NFL, when you're hearing that from people who have been watching the NFL but part of many broadcasts, many NFL games, many big NFL games, been around great quarterbacks, when you see a comment like this, it's not fake. It's not hypothetical thinking. It's not just wishful thinking. It's happening. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers and your head coach, Mike Tomlin, you're still alive. And Mike Tomlin wins next week, may not make the playoffs, but he'll continue to have the longest winning streak as a head coach around the NFL. He's part of an elite status, and a win next week against Cleveland and Pittsburgh will have many victories if it's not the playoffs. There's a lot to look for. And if you're trying to build your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a great example of how to do it. Great example. Folks, while Big Ben was fading away, Pittsburgh was still making playoffs the last couple of years of Ben Roethlisberger. The Steelers were still hanging around, making playoffs. But you never knew and felt like they were going to make a big run, right? But in the meantime, they were building and restructuring their roster. And things fell in their lap, and they struck in the draft big time. When you hit, you hit. But the Steelers seem to hit all the time, though. Why is that? Because it's very possible. It's always possible. You just got to be able to know what you're doing. The last couple of years, they got a tight end that is having a magical year in Freiermuth. They got Najee Harris. They got Kenny Pickett. They got George Pickens. Just in the last years of the draft, last couple of years. Right away, that just builds your offense. They just built their offense while Big Ben was just carrying them through, bridging them into the next generation. And the next generation of Pittsburgh Steelers football has arrived, and they're just going to build on that. So offensively, and their offensive line, I mean, there's so much more to this team. They're back for the future. Just when you thought the Steelers are going to have a long, now, folks. And defensively, they're at their best all-time high. Do you realize they have not given up more than like 16 points since I don't know, I think once since October or something like that. November, December, they've just been kicking butt. And that's a lot, even without TJ Watt. When TJ Watt got back into the flow, he was injured. Remember, TJ Watt has been injured. He missed 9 games. Think about that. If he played 1 or 2 more of those games, they probably win one of those games. They're in the playoffs right now. They're there. They're just going to get better. They got so much talent, young talent. Steeler football, folks. I know you may not like it if you're not a Steeler fan, but they're back. And they grew up. Just like I think it was Mike Tomlin said right there on the screen. Mike Tomlin said this: "Time to grow up. This is the moment to grow up, men." And they all responded to that quote. They're playing. These are young, talented, great college players who have arrived in the NFL and are playing at an all-time high. They're playing like veterans as rookies and second-year players. They've just taken over. They know this is their team now. They have identified themselves. Awesome stuff. And one team that is not identifying themselves in a mess right now is the New York Jets. Oh, man. It's rough. The New York Jets are having a rough one. But I do not believe this is the problem. Zach Wilson. He has a lot of growth, a lot of development. It's year 2. Hasn't played a full season. When he was in there, he won a lot of games, folks. He still won some games this year. Finished last season pretty strong too. But right now, mentally, he's not there. But here's the problem. They love Mike White. Mike White has done squat for the Jets. Where is Mike White now? The Jets are still losing. They lost 6 in a row or something like that without and with Wilson. Is it really the quarterback? Yes, there's a problem there. But it's not that White is better than Wilson, and they're just and I think the Jets know that. That was embarrassing yesterday, too, in Seattle. So get off the Mike White bullcrap. He's a backup at best and maybe gives you a flash moment. He's done nothing. He hasn't done anything for the Jets to win football games. But Zach Wilson has done exactly what he's done. And has thrown bad balls just like Zach, too. They were better off playing Flacco. The Jets made a mistake. They should have went to Flacco, who is the leader, who has been winning, has won before. He's older, but yes, bring in some stability, and the Jets blew it there. They are eliminated because of decisions. They should have went with the Flacco. And Flacco had a couple of nice games this year for the Jets. Should have kept that rolling, folks. Big mistake. They went with Mike White over Flacco. What's the freaking difference? Leadership, experience, and a guy that's shown that he can still make the plays. And Flacco. Jets screwed up, folks. They're out. And if you're watching college football, man, who else is out? Michigan. Look at this. Look at this photograph. I mean, that's a father and son photograph. Holy smoke. What a game. Semifinals, college football, Michigan goes down. They were behind the whole game, kept it close. One of the highest scoring games you're going to find when it comes to bowl games and semifinals, the playoff system. I mean, you couldn't not get a better game to watch. It was fantastic. But TCU, a team that was not in the rankings going into preseason or in preseason going into the season. Got to have faith, folks. TCU made it. They got there, but look at this photograph. This says it all. Michigan had everything going their way, had a great year. They felt like they were going to win, even making that comeback, and they couldn't finish it because TCU is just that good too. They're a good football team, and I'm going to root for them. I want something new, all right? I want TCU and something new. All right, what a great finish that game was. Michigan gone, man. It's gone. What a great year, man, but it's over, and it hurts. It hurts if you're a Michigan fan. How about this? Ohio State, a chance to win the game. They were winning this game, right? And Georgia makes a great comeback, and they take the lead, and what a great game it was. I mean, it was battling. But, Georgia had 2 leads the whole game. I think it summed up to like 50 seconds. It was like early in the game, they were up, and then they lost it real quick. And then right here, right before the game, last 2 minutes, Georgia scores, right? They're up, and here comes Ohio State. They put themselves in field goal range, and the kicker misses it. And the amazing thing about it, the East Coast, which this game was played in Georgia, was counting down the New Year's. And as they lined up for this kick, the ball was literally snapping as the clock struck 12. The ball is up in the air, and everybody is celebrating on the East Coast for the New Year. And either way, it's going to go through, and Ohio State's going to celebrate, or it's going to be Georgia. What a mixture of, oh man, the chemistry of that happening at that moment of celebration for a new year was just magical. I mean, if you're a Georgia fan, you were celebrating New Year's at the stroke of midnight as your team won the semifinal game to go on and to defend your national championship from a year ago. You went like you're just wrecking it in Georgia. I mean, you're having the greatest celebration. You were already cheering like everybody else is screaming in pots and pans, and you were doing it at your football game. What a moment! And right there was like frozen in time. That photograph, and it was a horrible kick. This guy grew up Ohio State fan, had a chance to kick his team into the championship game, and he just like that was not even wide right. It was grossly wide right, left, I should say. Oh my gosh! But Ohio State, the Buckeyes, Ohio, go away, you're gone. Georgia, the Dogs are back. They're one of the elite college teams. They're going to go up against TCU. And you have the underdog in TCU, and you're going to have the team defending champs Georgia going in for the national championship in Los Angeles next week. Going to look forward to that. It's going to be exciting. We have week 8, the last week of the NFL season, week 18 coming up. So much to look forward to for the NFL, and we're going to switch out of that. We're going to go into baseball, and the only baseball story I'm going to give you right now, folks, is this. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the D-backs, folks. Baseball is about a month away from pitchers and catchers, right? About 6 weeks? Not even now, about 5 weeks away, and then a lot of them are start showing up earlier than that just to kind of get themselves going. Baseball season is just a couple of months away. Spring training, right? We're talking March, right? It's all happening. Okay, now, predictions are coming out. The Diamondbacks are part of this. I don't know. A lot of teams, I do know. A lot of teams, a lot of experts and media and people are just looking around and going, the Diamondbacks may have been putting together a young team with a great run coming in them this upcoming season. They had some good moments last year, the Diamondbacks. They have some young talent. They got some young pitchers, great ones, right? They're just brought in Evan Longoria, who was a star player in Tampa and kind of fading, but leadership is big. He could be a DH for that team and play some third base or first base for that team when needed. There are some things going on with the Diamondbacks in Arizona, folks. And here is a breakdown that MLB.com, Major League Baseball's website, is predicting that Torey Lovullo is going to be the manager of the year. Zach Allen's going to be a Cy Young. When I saw this come across, I thought to myself, if this is the case, the Diamondbacks are making the playoffs. I mean, they should be right there. Wild card team, maybe a division title. I mean, San Diego is loaded up. The Dodgers look like they're going back a little bit. The Giants, who know who they are? They weren't great last year. Put together some players. Why not the Diamondbacks? Got to have faith, folks. Got to have faith. But when you see the MLB.com predicting Zach Allen to be a Cy Young, that means they have high hopes on the Diamondbacks. They have high hopes on their coach, their manager. Torey itself, he is a good one, folks. He's been there. He's done it. And when you see that, that means good things have happened in Arizona for the Diamondbacks during the 2023 season. Good things are expected to happen. And if they're putting this out there, folks, keep your eye on the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2023. 3, folks. Wow. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Wow. Look at the time coming up on the bottom of the hour. Diamondbacks, love you, man. Hang in there. Sports fans, big weekend coming up. I appreciate it. Music's up. Cornelius, Brad, Hannah, my sponsors below. Hanna Time on a early morning, sunrise morning in Arizona. Love you guys. Don't forget, love yourself first, and then you can share that love to everybody else. Global Sports Broadcasting Network. This is Hanna Time.